What's up, Scyushi Squad? We back in with more Trove. And I know, okay, I know a lot of you guys are asking for this on the BARD and that on the BARD and builds on the BARD and everything like that. I know, okay? I've got you covered. Don't worry. We'll end up talking about all that stuff. But I'm trying to prioritize the most common questions I get from you guys. So with that said, what we're going to be focusing on today is how you can obtain the BARD, and more specifically, the best, most economy friendly version of getting him, I guess, because we're going to be talking about obviously the pay to win stuff, but free to play as well. And more specifically, we are going to end up calculating and trying to figure out, is it going to be more cost effective for you guys to end up grinding Flux and selling it, or grinding Flux so that you can buy credit pouches versus buying Bardium, because of course it's going to end up depending entirely if you end up being limited by that, being limited by free to play, or just buying you know, some credits just out of the cash shop. So there's going to be these two different packs and so on and so forth. Anyways, before we get into all that, because we are of course, you know, highlighting stuff that you get out of the store, I would very much appreciate if you guys are new to Trove, you can end up using that sign up link that's down in the description, and then anything you end up buying out of the cash shop, I make a percentage of that sale. It's an awesome way you can support my cost of living by just buying things in Trove and stuff, and it's pretty cool. So there's a couple different ways of getting the BARD. Obviously, there's going to end up being the cash shop packs, and then there's just crafting the class. Now, the thing is, out of these two different packs, the BARD Super Pack is going to be cash only, and that's going to range around, I think it's like 75 US dollars. Which the amount of stuff that you get out of it is pretty good, because not only do you end up getting all the costumes and all the craftable costumes and mounts and stuff that's related to Bardium, which is the new resource in the game, which we'll get into that in a bit, but you also get 13,000 credits. So that's actually the equivalent of, I guess it's the equivalent of 75 bucks, right? The point is, though, that you're not just getting credits, you're actually getting all the other stuff, I guess, instead of these radiant pancakes, right? I don't know. But then the big pack that most of you are going to be concerned with is the BARD pack itself, which is actually 3,500 credits. Now, the crazy thing is that a lot of the costume packs that we see coming around periodically are usually 1.5k credits to 3,000. So what's an extra 500 credits to get a full class that you'll be able to end up using, which is obviously going to give you a lot more excitement and a lot more bang for your buck versus just, I don't know, just costumes and stuff like that. Now, the other thing to keep in mind too is that if you do end up going the cash shop way, you don't have to necessarily buy this big boy pack or anything like that. You could just buy the credits, in which case the fact that you need 3.5k means you're going to be spending just over the $20 pack. So I mean, I guess if you're free to play mixed with cash shop, you could spend 20 bucks to get these credits, and then you could grind out the rest of them through credit pouches. I don't know, it's entirely up to you guys, but the thing is that this class costs so freaking much in order to end up actually crafting, especially if you're just coming into Trove. Like, this is actually the worst class in the game to craft, because it costs sentient shards, which is a time-gated item that you get rarely from rampage bosses. Of course, I have another tutorial video already talking about sentient shards from way back, because sentient shards were added like 3 years ago when the Vanguard was added, which is ridiculous. On top of that, Bound Brilliance, which you get from weekly class power rank leaderboard and from some events. The point is, though, that it's insanely time gated in order to end up grinding the resource in order to craft this class, which is just insane, dude. And then on top of that, you guys spend a lot of time going into the delves so that you can get the free range electrolyte crystal. Sorry, guys. Obviously you get them from heavy pressurized chests, and so on and so forth. I have a lot of the geode chests that I just haven't opened, so that's why you can see that my electrolyte is a little bit lower than being able to fully craft this. Oh boy. And then there's 500 crystalline core, which this is already really bad too, because you get crystalline core per dungeon. And the funny thing is, so obtained daily by completing 5-star dungeons within the time limit from opening geode topside caches, from opening geode topside caches. Now, the thing is, I don't You don't really get that many the Geo topside caches. There used to be a better, more quality topside cache that was actually out of the cache shop exclusively, and that was actually really, really good. I don't know why they removed that and then kept a lot of other things that are very questionable in their options for the cache shop. Whatever. But the point is that with these crystalline cores, basically you get a gold reward, 2 silver rewards, and then the only one that you can continuously grind out of 5-star dungeons is the bronze reward. This is all dependent on the amount of time it takes you to end up completing the 5-star, but the bronze reward literally gives you like 1. So that's 1 per 5-star dungeon. So if you're just outright grinding 5-star dungeons and non-stop, it's gonna take like 500, if not 400 and up 5-star dungeons just to get the crystalline core. And then that is all not including the Bardium, which is the new resource that's been added to the game. This is an ore found rarely in tier 5 of geode caves. So I already have other videos that instruct you guys on how the geode caves and everything like that works. So I'll kind of just summarize for those that don't know. But there's going to end up being this area right here, the geode sanctuary, right? And there's all these different caves that you can end up going into, which is a completely different aspect of the game. Some people love it, some people hate it. I thought it was okay, but I never want to go there again. But basically, you'll go into these caves, and then you end up getting deeper and deeper into different tiers. And in order to end up getting all the way down to the 5th tier, you're going to have to upgrade a lot of your modules and all this other crap, dude. Like, there's so many steps involved with getting to tier 5 that it's actually ridiculous, especially considering that that is specifically where you'll end up getting the Bardium. I should not have left that menu, that area, because there's something we got to check here. So if I'm not mistaken, that, you know, that's 6,500 Bardium on top of the fact that you have to craft all of that other crap, right? And then now let's just take this into consideration. If we look at the pack that's in the store that we buy for credits, this will end up giving us Wings of Song, Cubics, Pretend Performer, and then the 2 allies. So the Crystology bench actually has a whole other tier right here. So that would be these wings right here, which is an additional 4,500 Bardium. Cubics, which is an additional 3.5k. And then the Pretend Performer, which is another additional 3.5k. And then these allies, which is 2k and 2k again. That's a lot of Bardium. So the point that I'm trying to get at is it going to be more cost effective for you to end up just buying the credit pouches in order to end up buying the Bard pack? Absolutely. Versus the Bardium itself. Let me actually, obviously the prices are subject to change because Bardium is going to end up going down in price, but Bardium's always going to end up being a coveted resource just because everybody who wants to end up doing anything related to the Bard means that this resource is constantly being consumed. So let me try and figure out, just based off of the current market value, obviously you can see 1,300 Flux each. Only goes up to like very, very quickly. It starts getting really, really expensive. So let's take an average of 1.4k. All right, just assuming, actually no, it would actually be closer to 1.5k, just considering the fact that you need thousands upon thousands, right? So let me actually crunch the numbers and try to figure out just how much Bardium you would need, how much that would end up costing you Flux wise versus how much it would cost you to buy credit pouches, because credit pouches are actually really expensive right now as well. But keep in mind, credit pouches, you know, prices are going to vary for console and PC. You guys on console can take advantage of credit pouches. Are probably cheaper right now because the Bard isn't out on console, so grind to your heart's content to get ready for when this class comes out. Okay, this is what my buddy Nintendo ended up doing. He ended up grinding up a bunch of credits before they ended up getting so overpriced, so he was able to get the Bard day one, because the point is that these are fluctuating like crazy. Now earlier when the Bard first came out, these were close to like 700 to 800k. So they're slowly going back down. That said, they're still wildly expensive, being over 600k per. And you need quite a few of them because these only end up giving you 250 credits. So anyways, let me figure all of this out. Well, the other thing too to consider is not only is it going to end up costing the Bardium to craft all of these, but it's going to cost all these resources as well. We won't be calculating those just because otherwise we're going to be here all day. But these are these are expensive resources. This one's not too bad, this Cubix costume. But when we look at the Pretender, no, that's not bad as well. I mean, the Celestial Gem can end up being quite expensive. The Allies, oddly enough, cost Everlight, which is another tier 5 resource, which is quite expensive. And then the wings themselves are an additional 325 crystalline core. The other resources are no problem, but the crystalline core and well, I guess 15k free range electrolyte is pretty crazy as well. Just to put it into perspective, okay guys, otherwise I'm still figuring this out. So in total it would be 22,000 Bardium, which at the current market value of, let's just assume 1,500, right? Because you need literally like thousands and upon thousands of this. That would be roughly 33 mil. Whereas with the credit pouches, you would need to have 14 of them because they give 250 credits each. You would need to have 14 of them to get a total of 3,500 credits in order to end up buying the pack. Let's just say that their average is around like 650. Yeah, so you're looking at a difference of the, like, I can't even believe how crazy this is, and I want to put this into perspective. It still is a lot of flux, obviously, but here's the thing, guys. We're looking at a difference of 33 mil just for the Bardium, not including all of the other resources, which would probably inflate that a little bit higher. The price could end up being a little bit lower than that, of course, depending on, you know, the rates of the Bardium and all the other resources and stuff like that. But that said, even if you end up managing to buy Bardium at the lowest rate possible and consistently get all 22,000 that you would need, it's not going to matter because buying the credits is still only going to end up being 9.1 mil. Which, again, that's still a hefty sum, especially if you're free to play and you're not at the end game and not doing any massive methods of grinding Flux or anything like that. But the point is that, dude, if you can go into the tier 5 geode caves, you can end up selling Bardium yourself for a massive profit. Another thing that Joe just outright does is he just outright grinds normal Uber worlds and geode surface and stuff. And he basically just breaks down the equipment and then sells all of the souls, which obviously requires to have a lot of magic finds so that you can sell stellar souls and so on and so forth. But there is a lot of other methods of making Flux, which lots of you guys keep asking me to make an updated Flux farming tutorial video. I gotta let you guys know I already had one for 2020 and all of that stuff still applies. The only real big change versus that tutorial and one that I would do now is just Bardium, as well as a couple other slight things. But the point is that I'm going to end up making a Flux farming video, but right now I'm kind of prioritizing all of this BARD stuff, so we'll see what happens. Maybe I'll end up making a Flux farming tutorial sooner rather than later so that you guys know all of the best methods of getting Flux in order to end up grinding for this. But as you can see, we're looking at like 20 mil difference, if not more than that, just for the Bardium, let alone all of the other resources. So what's the most cost-effective way of getting the Bard? It sure as heck ain't crafting it. I mean, I guess the thing too, okay, let's just say that you're just buying the Bardium just to craft the class and you don't care about the costumes and all of the other things that was in the Christology table, okay? So let's say Bardium is going for 1.3k, so 1.3k times 6,500. You're still spending around 9 mil. So you would basically, like, just to get the Bardium, mind you, not even the sentient shards and all these other items being extremely time gated and stuff like that, but basically the amount of Bardium that you need to craft the class is roughly going to cost you the same amount that it would to get the credit pouches in order to end up buying the pack. And, you know, again, of course, all of these prices are subject to change. As the Bard's been in the game for a lot longer, the prices are going to end up going down for sure. But overall, get the Bard pack. It's just going to be better for you. It's a much easier method. Or you could just drop down some money, you know, because otherwise you're going to be grinding for hours upon hours upon hours. Or you could just grind out, you know, put down 20 bucks, get the pack, and then all you got to do is just buy one credit pouch, which is still going to end up being 650k. depending on if you're on PC or console or whatever. Console, if you guys have a much cheaper value for the credit pouches, obviously it means that the price of all of this stuff is going to dwindle like crazy. But I just wanted to have this as a video to put it all into comparisons for you guys in compartments, just so you all know. Yeah, it's definitely better to end up going the credits route so that you can end up buying the pack. And I mean, if you're fine with dropping down the money, that's obviously just going to save you the most time for sure. Now, the other thing too, I just want to point out, I should have mentioned this earlier in the video, but lots of you, I'm sure, are asking about the Sweet 16 pack. That does not get you the BARD. It specifically says that in the description. Excuse me? Get all of the first 16 does not include the BARD. Okay, there it is. I thought there was going to be an asterisk down at the bottom. They should make it a little more obvious. But either way, it doesn't include the BARD, so you're kind of screwed in that regard. That was a weird pun. Thanks for watching, though, gamers. Really appreciate it. Smash like, sub for more. Buy the merch you want. Support the channel. Like I said, I got plenty of other videos planned, but I'm trying to kind of prioritize them based on the most common questions that I get from you guys. So we'll have a build video at some point in the future. But otherwise, for right now, you just have to be patient. Stay on and stay epic, everybody.